Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another video, and yes, it's another tribute video, and this time for the guitarist best known for his role in Dr Feelgood, Wilko Johnson. And as with any of these videos I do, it's dedicated to Wilko's family, especially his sons, and all the fans of Dr Feelgood and of the Wilko Johnson band. A lot of talk is made about guitarists being unique, having an original sound, and many people, when they think of those phrases, great guitarists, top 10 guitarists, top 50 guitarists, they think of the great soloing of Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, Ritchie Blackmore, Jimmy Page, Steve Howe, Robert Fripp, Dave Gilmour. That's from the golden period of rock music. I could just keep going with all these people. But it isn't just about guitar solos or a unique sound or whatever. Sometimes it goes beyond that. And Wilko Johnson is a guitar great. He will be remembered for being unique. Unique in his sound, the way he kind of used that percussive sound of not using a plectrum but using his fingers across the fretboard, so he would play a guitar solo at the same time as playing percussive chords and, you know, string structures behind the sound. But not only that, was the way he actually moved. The music was inside him and it came out of him in a very unique way. The way he used that Telecaster almost like a weapon, as the guitar went one way and his head went the other, and he just careered across the stage like someone had been wound up with a clockwork spring, and he just literally went straight across with the energy of a band of 20 people plugged into him as he raced across that stage in Dr Feelgood. He was unique. We get used to people like Angus Young from AC/DC dressed as a schoolboy. There's so many characters in that period of time. But essentially, Wilko Johnson was a R&B, blues, rock and roll guitarist. But instead of it being like the tired sound we may have heard coming back from the late 60s or 70s, he reinvented it. You know, from Canvey and Southend to being like this kind of, as I say, staccato, treble, rich, cutting guitar sound that appealed to rock and roll fans, to punk at the same time, because we're talking about a period, the golden age of Dr Feelgood in many ways is 74 to 1977. And I remember in 1975 buying this song, Back in the Night, on United Artists Records, and it was great. It was backed with I'm a Man, which is a blues standard, but that didn't give me the insight to what was coming. And it was actually the next one I bought, which was from 1976, which changed everything in a way, which was Roxette. And listen to anyone who's new to Wilko Johnson, because again, I don't presume that everyone who watches these videos is someone who grew up with the band. You know, when you see news that a great artist has passed away, a lot of young people are then inquisitive, wanting to know what was this character like. Have you got an exciting journey ahead of you? Make sure you go to YouTube and look at videos of Wilko Johnson with Dr Feelgood performing live, and you won't have seen anybody do anything quite like that. Wilko Johnson was also a wonderful human being. He married his childhood sweetheart, Irene, who sadly passed away from cancer. And I've seen documentaries of him where he's talked about this period of his life with such honesty and heartfelt words. He was into astronomy and poetry. And also, the other thing that many people remember is in 2012, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and was told he had about a year to live. And he went on a farewell tour that literally those words, farewell tour, had a deeper meaning than, say, when you see a band nowadays saying they're on their farewell tour. His was a farewell tour because he really thought he was saying farewell. And that tour lasted, I think, over a year. And then a doctor, I think, in the audience spotted him and thought, this doesn't seem quite right. And he went for a second diagnosis, and they found he had got pancreatic cancer, but he got a version that could be operated on. And I think it was an 11-hour operation when they took out a tumour that was weighed about 3 pounds, almost like a baby. And he was back. And he made an album with Roger Daltrey, and this is another one I really recommend, called Going Back Home, literally. Because he thought it was going to be the last thing he ever did, and he didn't. He was able to perform again. So this is very sad news. He's died at age 75, but he had a lot of extra years, and he kept playing up until really, really recently. Another album, there were many to choose from. Don't just take my word for it. I'm just picking a handful here. Was Blow Your Mind. The energy, the passion, and that unique sound. And for Dr Feelgood, I would recommend this All Through the City, which is a 4 CD box set, which is really, really excellent. You can still buy, and this gives you all of those albums. Malpractice, which is down by the jetty, of course, in a way ahead of its time. I think recorded in mono on just a few tracks. Stupidity, of course, the live album, which got to number 1. Pure rock and roll, a great rock and roll album, and Sneaking Suspicion, just classic albums. But check out the live stuff, especially on YouTube, and watch Wilko perform. Watch the uniqueness of what makes music so special, and especially the idea that, it's all been done. You can't get a unique sound anymore. It's just 3 chords. The great thing about many rock and roll stars, or any musicians of any genre really, is there a space to always make your own mark. And Wilko Johnson, without playing 1,000 notes per hour, or even a direct blues note on a humbucker from a Les Paul, was able to create a unique guitar sound and a unique style of playing, which fitted in with his unique stagecraft as well. A very interesting character. There's lots of interviews with him online. He was also in Game of Thrones. As an actor, he had the perfect face to be in Game of Thrones, and I mean that with pure affection. He really did. But as I said at the start of this video, Wilko Johnson, and I'm thinking of of his family here, was a father, a husband, a family member, and he touched so many hearts. And a lot of people are waking up today or watching the news or various videos similar to maybe to this one, and starting to realise and remember those records that they bought when they themselves were young, or maybe you're just discovering Dr Feelgood. You're about to go off to Spotify and stream them for the first time. And as I said earlier, you're in for a hell of a journey. A journey that will make you smile, as the music was joyous, full of love, full of life, and the guitar sound that's exciting. You can just pick up an instrument and make a sound that sounds like... That's the other thing with Wilko Johnson's guitar playing, I'll just add, is it doesn't sound like one bloke. It sounds like 2 of them. It sounds like a rhythm guitarist and the lead guitarist standing next to each other in perfect harmony with each other, except it is one bloke. And it was a unique bloke and a unique musician. It was Wilko Johnson. Sadly missed, but music will live on forever. Thank you for watching, and remember, music is the healer and the doctor. And today, play some Dr Feelgood. I'll see you very, very soon.